a place a couple days ago, and I asked the crowd, what are the chances of our getting hit with mortars tonight? And they all said, 100%. They'd been hit 4 days in a row, and fortunately, we didn't get hit. It's pretty scary. We come out here and we pretend to be tough and wear our Kevlar and our flak vests for a few days, but seriously, it scares me to death to be out here. But it's worth it to me because, well, it means something to me, and I hope it means something to you. I'll tell you the story about Bumper of my SUV, and I really find it impossible to sing the song without telling this story. Before my brother went off to the war in Iraq, he mailed me a round red Marine Corps sticker. And I went outside and put it on my vehicle. It's the only sticker I have on my sport utility vehicle. And I put it there. And I went about my business like everybody else, but I was very aware that my brother was going into a war situation. Although he'd been in for many years, 14 years at the time, he'd never been in any kind of serious conflict situation. So I was scared. And then I had the chance to go into Iraq and Kuwait, Baghdad, Talil. I went into those places in 2003. Were any of you there at BIOP in 2003?
A lot.
We were at Baghdad International. It was Kid Rock and me and Jesse James from Monster Garage. It was cool. It was really hot and really, really scary. So I got back to Nashville after having had that experience. I had all of that in my heart and in my head, and I was driving down West End there in Nashville. It's the main road that runs through Nashville. It connects downtown to the residential area. And a lady in a minivan, I swear, she flipped me the bird. She gave me the middle finger. And at first I thought, okay, I cut her off. I'm not a very good driver, which is true, I'm not. But we got up to a red light, and I didn't want to look over at her. She was next to me then, and I could see her gesturing, and I thought, there's no way I'm looking over at her. I'm not going to rumble with the soccer mom. Get my butt kicked. So finally I did look over because she was making such a brouhaha over there, and she said, roll down your window. Roll down your window. So I rolled it down, and she yelled at me. She had a vein popping out of her forehead, and she yelled at me and pointed to the back of my vehicle and said, your war is wrong. She said that, and it freaked me. I mean, I'm sure this has happened to some of you guys and maybe your family members, but it totally floored me. It upset me. I wanted to take her and go to a Starbucks or a Green Beans coffee and talk to her and tell her who I am, not as a celebrity, but as a person. I wanted to tell her about the places I'd been and the people I'd met like you and the questions that I had about everything. And I wanted to tell her, look, lady, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm an American. I've never stated a political affiliation. The one thing I've always said is that I'm an American and I support my troops. And so I did what any good country singer does. I went home, put my purse down in the kitchen, went to my music room, and I wrote a song about it. Now stick with me, this is where it gets tricky. That was June of 2003. I wrote the song that day, hit record on my little recorder there, and I forgot about the song. June of 2003, a whole 16 months went by. September of 2004, Lonnie and I and the band were getting ready to come back over to Iraq for another tour. And I happened to find that song. I was cleaning out my computer there, and I found a song called Bumper, and I was like, what is that? So I listened to it and I thought, okay, that doesn't stink. So I burned a copy and put it in my backpack, and off to Iraq I went. We were about to do the first show. Actually, we were at Camp Ramadi in Kuwait. And I handed the disc to my guitar player at the time, a guy named Clay. I said, Clay, just learn this. You and I might do it acoustically, just you and I, but I doubt it. Just learn it. And by the way, band guys love that when you hand them a song right before the show. So he learned it. And we ended up doing it that night at the show. And it was primarily Air Force guys and Army guys that night. And I said, do you guys want to hear a brand new song no one's ever heard? And they said, yeah. And they barked at me.
Hoorah!
And they ooh-rah'd me. Hoorah! And so I did the song, right? And I said, you know what? I could lie to you and tell you in the song that I've got an Air Force sticker or an Army sticker, but I don't. Do you still want to hear it? I'm talking about a Marine Corps sticker, and they said, yes ma'am, do it. So we did the song, and it went over really, really well. And after the show, we signed autographs, as we will do tonight. And we sign, and we hang out, and we talk till all of you are gone. And it's the best part of the trip. The shows are fun, but the best part of the trip is getting to meet you and talk to you guys. Right. So after the show, the military folks were saying what they always say. By the way, the military is the greatest crowd to play for on the face of the planet, the most appreciative. And they were saying, ma'am, thank you for coming, like they always say, but they were saying, thank you for coming, you got to record that song. And I said, oh, well, thank you, I'm glad you liked it, but I'm not going to record it. Number one, it was almost 5 minutes long, and radio does not play songs that long. And number two, I didn't want anyone to hear that song and not know me. I didn't want anyone to hear it and not know my history with you folks. And I just didn't want to be that girl. I didn't want to be that artist that somebody thought, is she exploiting the situation? Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm skeptical at some of the things entertainers do. I question their motives. Now, I know a lot of people are patriotic, but I keep an eye on stuff, you know? And another reason why I wouldn't record the song is because this. Every time, if it were to get played on the radio, the writer gets paid, the songwriter gets paid every single time a song plays on the radio. And I wrote the song. And I thought, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to make money off of a song that supports the troops. No way. So we continued the tour, and I think we played 7 or 8 shows in country. And we played a place called Fob Summerall. Okay, Fob Summerall. I didn't know what FOB meant at the time. I now know it stands for Forward Operating Base, but once I got there, I realized it meant hot as hell, peeing in a porta potty, and rotten, stinking food. That's what FOB really stands for. They don't tell you that, but that's what it means. But I was excited to be there because it was the home of the Big Red One at that time. And again, my grandfather was in the Big Red One, so I thought, this is cool. I get a chance to pay homage to my grandfather, you know. Sergeant Harold Henry was my grandfather's name, and this is a big deal to get to come here and play for the new Big Red One guys. So we did the show, and after the show, a young man in his BDUs looked just like you. Walked through the autograph line, and on his BDUs it said, Henry. And I said, and remember, my grandfather's name was Harold Henry. I said, dude, we could be cousins. He said, don't say that, I won't be able to ask you out. He said, if we move to Kentucky, you can. So we said hi and visited just a little bit, and his hometown was Apollo, Pennsylvania. And he and Lonnie talked a little bit, and I'm sure there were some Pittsburgh Steelers comments floating around. And in general, we hung out with Josh like we do with everybody. Josh Henry was just like everybody there. He was there just to have some fun and let go. He wasn't a country fan. His mom was. But we enjoyed it. We loved it. The next day we got on 2 Black Hawk helicopters and headed off to Camp Taji. You guys know where that is. And as we landed, Judy Seal got the phone call from Fob Summerall, from our friend Kyle McClelland, whom we had spent the past 48 hours with. We got the call that Josh Henry had been killed. And boy, wow, it got really real to us. I don't have to tell you guys that. You know it, you live it, but we dumb civilians, we really don't get it. There's no way we can understand it. Micah said it earlier. He said, I understand it as much as I can. And that's the very best we can do. But I'll tell you what, knowing that we had spent the last day of Josh Henry's life with him just brought us right up to the peak of reality. It got real for us. And I have had no greater honor in my life than knowing that I got to be a part of bringing a little bit of fun and a little bit of relief and a little bit of home and hopefully a couple of laughs to a soldier on his last night. Got back to Nashville, and although I had said I wouldn't record that song, so many, I mean a couple of thousand people I'd met in that past week said, you know what, if you don't record it and put it out on the radio, record it, send it back to us so we can have it on Baghdad AFN. And that combined with the fact that the experience with Josh was so heavy and so emotional, I did that. I got back to Nashville. Lonnie was with me that day in the studio. We went in and made a recording, a simple little recording with a piano, a mandolin, and my vocal. And we sent it back to Baghdad AFN. I felt so relieved. I kept a promise to so many amazing young men and women, and some of the old ones too. A week later, I was walking the streets in New York, and my phone rang. My cell phone rang, and it was a radio station in Florida. And the disc jockey said, "Shell, can we go live on the air?" I said, "Why?" I didn't have a record out at the time. He said, "This song is blowing up our phone lines." I said, "What song are you talking about?" He said, "The bumper of my SUV is our #1 requested song." This was a big radio station down there, you guys. What had happened was a soldier had gone to Baghdad AFN, made a copy of the song, emailed it back to his mother. She made a copy. She took it to that radio station. They played it. The phones lit up. That station emailed it to WMZQ in Washington, D.C. They emailed it back to Nashville. This song started bouncing around coast to coast, and it started to climb the charts, and it became a hit. It got weird. It doesn't happen like that in entertainment. So then Walmart called me. Not Walmart in Dixon, Tennessee. Not Walmart in Erie, PA. Bentonville, Arkansas, the headquarters of Walmart. The head guy at Walmart called, and I already had a relationship with him. We knew one another. He said, "Shelley, people coast to coast are trying to buy this song in Walmart. We gotta have it." And remember, that was my biggest fear, that money was going to be made. So I called Judy at Stars for Stripes, and we set it up to where the money, the profits from that song, were given to Stars for Stripes to take entertainment to the troops. And the weirdest thing happened, you guys. That song became the #1 selling single out of Nashville in that year. It was the craziest thing. And I brag about those statistics, not to brag about the song or me, but I think it's important that so many people connected to that song. And I think it's because so many of us, no matter what we feel politically, or God knows what's going on with people, think so far, the gamut is unbelievable what people think. But I think the one thing we all want to say to you guys and gals is that as long as there are boots on the ground and boots in the air in dangerous places like Iraq, Afghanistan, the DMZ, anywhere, we want to say thank you. So this song is a manifestation of how I feel. It's true. Every line of it is true, and it's been a real great gift in my life. And this song is dedicated to you tonight, as humbly as possible. Got a bright red sticker on the back of my car, says United States Marines. And yesterday a lady in a minivan held up her middle finger at me. Does she think she knows what I stand for, or the things that I believe, just by looking at a sticker for the U.S. Marines on the bumper of my SUV? See my brother Chris, he's been in for more than 14 years now. Our dad was in the Navy during Vietnam, did his duty, then he got out. And my grandpa earned his Purple Heart March of Normandy. And that's why I've got a sticker for the U.S. Marines on the bumper of my SUV. But that doesn't mean that I won't war. I'm not Republican or Democrat, but I've gone all around this crazy world just to try to better understand. And yes, I do have questions, but I get to ask them because I'm free. That's why I've got a sticker for the U.S. Marines on the bumper of my SUV. 'Cause I've been to Hiroshima, and I've been to the DMZ. I've walked on the sand in Baghdad, still don't have all of the answers I need. But I guess I wanna know where she's been before she judges and gestures to me. 'Cause she don't like my sticker for the U.S. Marines on the bumper of my SUV. So I hope that lady in her minivan turns on her radio and hears this from me, as she picks up her kids from their private school and drives home safely on our city streets, or to the building where her church group meets. That's why I've got a sticker for the U.S. Marines on the bumper of my